There it is.
Seeing it?
Yep.
Okay. Um, this is a very odd situation. I'm working in an old subdivision that was done back in 1972, and I'm just not finding anything except for a line of. Can you see my? You can see my cursor.
Yes.
Uh, a line of rebars, which is along this line. I've found two corners here and two here. They don't check out real well. There's like a half a foot of slop in there.
Wow.
Watch is pretty good. It's closed reasonably well. But
Okay.
if you look at the photograph, and what happened is I tied into these four corners that I found with my GPS, and I did a rotation to what I found in the field. So I was on state plane, and I went out with my GPS and I started looking for other, surveying these lots up here. What my goal is,
Uh-huh.
not finding anything. And there's a road constructed along here, and I'm walking along the road, and the GPS is telling me I need to go 30 feet off of the road into what appears to be the lot. And then I pull up the county GIS map and I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, holy cow, it looks like the road's built completely in the wrong place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I saw that in what you sent me. But as you're, I'm sure, aware, sometimes the tax maps can be that far out.
oh, I know. And
Yeah.
that was my initial thought is the people who were buying those lots looked at the house which appears to be overlapping the line and they said we want you to check and make sure that this isn't the case. And I said,
Right.
well, I don't think it is. It's just a tax map, it's a GIS map. But if you look on the right hand side and you look how closely the uh, the boundaries fit with the road over there, and then by the time you get over here, there's this huge distortion. I mean, I never dreamed that that was what, and it may not be. I have a very weak alignment. I haven't found very much, and there's only a couple hundred feet. So what I was doing is I was doing a series of rotation translations, and the
Hmm.
question of the evening is, this is the last one I did, and I thought, well, I don't want to have to enter. I did it once, and I didn't like the result, and I didn't want to keep adjusting the same thing, so I just erased it. I didn't delete it. I just took it off and I did the lots over again. I thought, well, I don't want to have to keep doing this over and over again, so I'll just copy this.
Yeah.
And I did. I copied it, but it has the same point number.
Okay.
Now, I
Uh,
don't know if there's any coordinate there with those points. I don't think there is because if I tell it to inverse, it inverts from 401, for example, it inverses from this one.
well, here's what we can do to find out. So if we, if I double click that, that shows me that's 0.401
Yeah.
in this coordinate file, 2011 Koenig. If I double click this, tells me that's 401. 122. It's got the very same coordinate.
Yeah. So how can that be?
Well, at least on the northern. Let me see.
What have I done?
All right. So 222, 3709 in the northern, and that was the same thing for this one. All right. So 031, 346 in the eastern. 031, wow. It's the very same coordinate. I think I know. If I look at that, you see all these grips that show up, one of which is right at the point.
Yeah.
Now, if I look at this, oh, I was hoping I'd get a grip over here. I don't. Let's see. All right, so let's go to this point.
I come up with some interesting questions, don't I?
You do it that. All right, so there's the coordinate. So that's the coordinate in your coordinate file. You have two of them shown in the drawing because you just copied one from one place to another. Now, see, if I do this, if I say, let's make that, let's put a little elevation on it. Now watch what happens to this point when it goes back. Nothing. All right, we'll put a little. Yeah, see, when I double clicked over here, it edited this point.
Okay.
Why? Ah, here we go. Now, if you see that when I select it, you see that right there?
Yeah.
So what you did, see, if I select this one, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grips. Okay, and that has to do with the block and all of that. So I look at this one, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grips. So when you copied that, what you copied here was the blocks, and it left the point, the actual point itself over there where it was. So if I look at this, I've got, well, there's a point included there as well. If I do this, it's showing me 2 points. See right here?
Yeah.
Wow. Let me take a look at something. These are all done.
Makes me almost think I can understand quantum mechanics.
I tell you what. Michael, this is a new one on me, my friend. Let's see. And it's true of every instance of that. Now, see if I grab that. Now the point, I see that there's only, I only see 5 grips until I go to edit it. And once I've edited it, see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of 6. But you see what this is doing?
Yeah.
It's glyphing right over here to tell me that's where it thinks the point is.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, is there a way to do what I wanted to do? What I was
Well,
trying to do is to copy all of that so I don't have to do it over again.
yeah, the same way you
I thought it would ask me to renumber the points.
well, it should, but see these things. Now, see, with the exception of that 401, but if I were to select all of this stuff and just delete it, you see? Wow. So which one was the original? The one on the right?
One on the left.
Huh. let's take a look at. See, that came from enter deed description.
Some of it did. Some of
Yeah,
it did.
right, right. So if okay. Some of the, yeah, that, that looks to be probably some of those are duplicated. That should be okay. Now, what I'm a little concerned about is why did not this, see, that's, so if I put a little, if I make any kind of change, see, it pulls any of these things it's trying to do. Excuse me, as long as I make a change, then all the line work updates itself correctly back to these over here. But see this 420, this 410 that goes to 409. So see if I make a change to 410, it's going to redraw that one. Same thing to, let's say 09. 410 we did. This is this is something that we need to let tech support know. If we quit this file and then reload it, is that okay? Or have you done
Yeah.
something that,
No, that's okay.
all right. And that's this one.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is where the points really are. And see, I didn't get a, all right, there's the glyph there. Yeah, see? So all of this stuff is sort of phantom out here. If we erase the points from the screen. It says 81 points. I don't see 81 points there. Oh, it's not. It's a different thing. Now, all right, I'm going to copy that. Paste that. All right. Now that should, there we go. So that gave us that. What is, what is this line? What is this point supposed to be? Do you know? Is that supposed to be 0.400
Yes.
or 411? I mean, which, or 400?
Uh,
Looks like 400.
yeah, it is supposed to be 400.
All right. So there we go. All right, so there's everything that you've done. Now you want to be able to copy this stuff over here to try to figure out how.
Yeah, I just want another copy of it so I don't have to do it all over again. If I take this one and rotate it to the field data I have over on the left, I don't want to have to come back and recompute the platted lines again.
Oh, I see. All right, so probably what's going on is a little bit of this linking. It should not be doing this, by the way. Your thinking is correct, but what happens is, see, this line was built by when you created it. You probably said from 400 to 401 to 402, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yeah.
and back to the beginning. So instead of having to do that all over again, what happens now though is that if you were to modify this point, like if you were to move it out here, copy it, do anything else, this line knows it was built with that point, so it tries to go with that point because of this setting right here, where we say link line work with points. Okay.
Okay.
So a couple of things we can do. We can unlink the line work with the points so that it's just line work right now. And then if we need to, we can grip edit the lines and move them into where they're supposed to be. Okay. That's one thing we can do. We can also, let's see, if we copy, let's see, if we can't really copy those points other than a CAD copy. See, so you should be able to just select that stuff, and copy, say from here over to here. Wow. Huh. This is interesting. How long have you been in this? How long have you had Carlson up and running?
Today,
Yeah.
all afternoon.
All right. Here's what I'm thinking we need to do. Let's go ahead and close out of the software. It's like it's got something that's not set correctly, or something has become unset. So I exited that. I'm going to reload it. And let's see what happens in this case. And let's try this now. If I look at, yeah, it's still got that shadow point thing. If I were to edit, or if I were to just select and delete, that goes away there. And if I go back to points, edit points, and I'm going to go down to 401 and make that 0 this time. And then I'll copy, paste, and save and exit. Go regen all. That, see, gosh. All right, let's try this. All right. So,
Let me find it.
yeah, let's see. Uh, yeah, crap. There you go. Okay, go ahead and find it now. Okay. Now, we got the very same thing going on over here. So I should. Wow. Well, no need to go back to 2020. It's doing the same behavior. I'm going to need you to send me this file at some point, Michael, and I'll send it up to tech support for you.
Okay.
But in the meantime, let's get you off of this. Well, first of all, let's see if I can. Yeah, I copy that, paste it there. And then I also want to uh, take this and this. Whoops. So, crap. Sorry. Uh, oh, well, let's do it this way. I can't figure out where the close box is. All right, so I want to take this and this. How about this? Crap. All right, I want to take this and this. It won't let me control click. All right. Copy that. Copy that. And those are your deed files. I think I might as well take all of it anyway. Okay. All right. All right, so I'll try to get to the bottom of that, but in the meantime, let's fix this part. If we have, I'm going to go back to, I'm going to unlink these things for now. That should be, all I need to do there. And I'm going to go to File, Join Utilities, and I'm going to remove extended entity data. And let's just take it all. Okay, now If I do this, unbelievable. Now, if I undo, it's not going to let me. See, it's going to put that back. So let's see if we get rid of this. All right. Let's from the screen. No, both. Okay. Now let's draw, locate your points. And we'll use the old X. Are those D points?
Yeah.
That was 401 to 450.
400.
Oh, 400. Sorry. Thank you. Yes. 400 to say 450. That'll cover them. There they are. Now, I'm going to take just the blocks from here. So I'm going to select everything. I'm going to go over here to my filter and let's get rid of the points too, but not the polylines. All right. And then let's, if we select everything here, but I want to only do that. Okay. Now, I take this and copy from this endpoint. Let's see, where's your, to okay, now that can go away. And let's do a little save as here, and let's call it modified. All right, now I want to copy this, say from here to here. No to all. And that puts the point back there. So if I were to say yes to all, let's undo that for a minute. So if I put that here, and if I say, whoops, didn't even ask me that time. All right, so 401 is where it's supposed to be. 427 where it's supposed to be. All right, so if what can we do? So you want to copy 400 through whatever your upper number is there over to another spot, and of course the lines that go with it. So if see, that's not gonna. All right, let me see. It's just checking for duplicates. If I copy or merge, yeah. Well, it's an interesting poser, Michael. Let me think here.
Would be an easy way to do it.
Well, I would have thought so. And I actually would have thought you could have done this just like we're trying. And in fact, I'm starting to think that this is having less to do with it than it did. So I'll put that back on.
I thought it would ask me to renumber the points and ask me what number I wanted to start with.
Uh-huh. That's what I would have thought too. But I look on here and I see there is no copy of points. You could do this. You could copy them into another file. But then we'd have to go and edit all the values to be able to grab them and move them.
Maybe the problem is that you can copy lines, but you can't copy coordinates.
Well, yeah, but yes and no, because at the end of the day, all that coordinate point is a couple of blocks and a CAD point. So there's no reason you can't copy that. So if I were to say copy from here to here, see it says point reactor turned off. See right there?
Yeah. What does that mean?
Well, that's the thing that triggers that question that says you want to update the coordinate file. All right, so let's try this. Let's erase points by number. Okay, now. I change that to allow duplicates. Don't know that that'll work, but we'll see. Okay. All right, so I no longer got that message that said, do you want to update the coordinate file? Well, now I've said I want to allow duplicates. So I've got duplicate points, although see, that's three things it should be. This is three things it should be. There's two blocks and a point. This should also be two blocks and a point. If I look at the point, 31, 35, 22, 37. And that's going to give us the same thing. Whoops, no, that gives us 64, 55, 26, 27. So that point is different. Oh, excuse me. So it's 31, 35, 22, 37. That's got a definitively different coordinate. However, if I go to do this, it brings up that 22, 31. Wow, that is just weird. All right, so if we look at our duplicate points, wow, wow.
So maybe I can't do it. I'll just have to do it over each time if I need it again.
Well, sort of the way it's looking, although you could certainly copy the line work. And then you could drop points on entities, but they wouldn't necessarily be in the same order. So you could do this. You could go to points. I'm going to freeze points. I just say all for now. Freeze symbols. And then if I did this and copy here to here to here to here. And then I'll go back and thaw my points, which I'll bring them back on. All right, now I could say create points from entities. And that was, say, 400. We'll start this one at 500. So you see what happened there is that I got a new set of points, but 401 is 523 because you can't really control the order
Yeah.
if you do
Well,
it that way.
that's okay.
All right. So then you could do the same thing with 601 or 600 on and then 700 on.
Okay.
You could do that. And that is on the Kogo menu. Create points from entities.
Yeah, and you did that by freezing the points and then copying.
Yeah, I just copied the line work and I
Okay.
chose freeze points.
Yeah.
And I just said all. And then it asks, what do you want to freeze about them and just the symbols. There is no associated line work right now because I decoupled that from those points. Okay.
Okay.
And then I said, okay. And then, so that took care of that. I selected that, copied a couple of times, and then go back to points and thaw points. Okay. So I think I'm going to turn off this line work linking right now because it's reacting to everything. is that point set up? I meant to say draw, locate. 1000, okay, so screen pick right there. Done, and we'll call it test. All right, so there's my point, 1001. I want to be able to copy that. From here to here. And it let me do it. Wow. Now, if I call that, say, test E, it updates there, but then what is this over here? See, I should be able to see it's still linked back to this. And if I were to take that and hit delete, well, if it did let me delete that extra stuff, at least, oh well.
By the way, how do I get rid of all those elevations?
Oh, if you don't want to see the elevations,
Right.
you can either on your point defaults, for instance, if you don't want to show them or look at them, you could say uncheck your elevations here.
Okay.
All right, now that's on your defaults, but now you got some points that you're going to want to see them. So you could,
Well, not really.
well, I mean, like control point or something, you would, well, actually, you don't even really want to, it's just that you don't want to see them. So that might be, if you just turn it off. If we draw locate points, and I'm going to erase and redraw, I will set that to that. I'll uncheck my elevations, and we'll put these on deed points 400 to 1,000. There you go.
Yep.
Okay. Wow, that's very interesting. So you could do it in two places there. You could set your point defaults to not use elevations like we
Right.
did. Or you could leave that on, and then if any given time when you draw locate points, you would uncheck that elevations right here.
Right.
And then that would only work for that particular operation.
Do you have time for me to ask 2 more questions?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, this one is,
You know how to go from here on this one, right?
yeah.
All right.
These are some points I located, and I just drew a line between the 2 endpoints.
Okay.
I wanted to see how far they're supposed to be on a straight line, and I wanted to see how far off
Far off. Okay.
they were. And so I typed in distance,
Okay.
and Now it's asking for a starting point for distance. And
All
I
right.
thought I should be able to enter 6A in there as a number.
No. Yeah. When you, that command dist, D-I-S-T, that is a CAD command only. So it knows nothing of point numbers. It's not a Carlson command.
Okay,
But
so I would just have to go to
no, no.
node
Yeah. Yeah. You could do that. Yep.
and
Node
then
or
do
insert.
perpendicular.
Yeah. Node or insert. Either way. If you say insert, you could pick any part of that point to label anything instead of node. It's what's called an insert. And that is this guy right here, I believe. Yeah, the insertion point. So that happens to be the same thing. It's the origin point of the block. There's one block that has the text in it. There's another block that has a symbol on it. So either one would work. If you say node, then it goes to the actual CAD point, and you have to be on it. You have to, find it.
Right.
Now there's another, let's see what else we could do with that. If you go to settings, and if you turn your point object snap on, and it's now on, I'm not sure if this will work with the CAD command. We're going to try it. So if I start here, yeah, see what it's doing? See, you see where it locates, it turns that little glip on?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is a special snap that Carlson gives us that we don't have out of CAD. So if you say point object snap on, then all you have to do is just point to any part of that point and it goes to the point itself and not to the label or to where you click or any of that. So
Okay.
that would work. Now, to find out that perpendicular distance off of that line, you can do it. Show me what you were doing. You say dist, so go ahead. And this will work, by the way. So you'd enter now, because you have that point snap on, just hover over the elevation or the description, click. And now you want to snap perpendicular to that line. So you have to grab that. There you go. And you don't have to be, you don't have to click in the spot where it's perpendicular. You can hover over any part of it and it will snap perpendicular to it.
Right.
So now there's your distance, but look at the distance. You see, now, do you know why it's 600 feet?
That's the difference in elevation.
Exactly right. So there's your delta Z. Now, so that doesn't tell you anything there that you can really use.
Right.
Okay, so a couple of ways around that as well. You can, let's see. You can take that line that you drew, because you drew a line. Lines always carry the elevations. Polylines do not. Okay.
Well, no, I think that's a polyline.
Click on that line and let's take a look. Yes, it is. Okay. All right. So it's at 0, but then 6A apparently has an elevation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
Well, they all do. All
Yeah.
those points have elevation.
Okay. So that doesn't really help us there unless we could figure out how to get the distance to be in that plane. And there's a couple of ways to do that. We can draw polylines
3D
from,
polyline.
yeah, or draw a 2D polyline. And just, there you go. Okay, now this time, and you can just hit enter for default. So this time when you do this, now you can type 6A, because it says pick point or point numbers, 6A, enter, and now snap perpendicular and hover over any part of that line. It doesn't have to be right there. It can be off to the side in case you're afraid. Okay, so now you've done that, hit enter to finish. And now you could repeat that for all those other points and just select that little line, that little polyline, and look over in its properties, and it'll tell you the length of that line if you scroll down. See, that's length 2.25. Okay, so that's one way. All right, now let's go ahead and delete that. It's highlighted, just hit delete key. And There's a couple of other ways that might be a little more straightforward in terms of the way you're thinking of what you're wanting to do. And that's, we're going to basically compute an offset for that point. Okay. And we want to look at these snaps up here.
Yeah.
See that station and offset?
Yeah.
Right there. So if we do that, it says centerline file segment or select the polyline. So that's the default condition. So I'm going to select that polyline. Okay. Now it says pick a point on the center line or enter a station. And I'm going to pick, say, this point. Okay.
Yeah.
And so it says the offset is 2.252. It would be negative if it's left. So apparently you drew this line from 12 to 1A.
Yeah.
Now this is also here. And you see as I move around, so I just hit enter. Let's see if I do that again, if I pick this line. And now you see, as I'm moving, you see this is tracking me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hover here and pick that point. And it is 5 or 0.514 off of that line. Okay. So, and then now, unfortunately, what happens is you have to, you know, hit enter, then you have to run the command again for each one. All right. So that's one way to do it. Now there's another
way to find out if any three of those points are on a straight line.
Yes, that's what I was getting ready to show you next.
Okay.
And that's basically a linear regression. We're going to find out the best fit line between these 4 points. And you would do that by, in fact, let's take this out just to keep from confusing us. And let's go to the, let me see if it's here or not. Let me find out.
I saw it somewhere today.
Yeah. I just want to see, I would think that I would start looking for it on the points menu, but it's not. It's going to be on probably the draw stuff. If I draw polyline.
I think it was under the Kogo or survey.
Yep, it might well be. Let's see. Probably Kogo makes sense. Best fit.
Best fit.
Right here. Okay. So a best fit line, might as well do it by least squares. Okay. Now, do you want to select the points from the screen, a group, a point number, or a polyline? So we'll say by screen, which is our default condition. So we'll just hit enter, select our points, and we'll select those points. Finish our selection by hitting enter. Create a 2D or 3D. 2D is fine. We'll hit that for enter. And now parameter to hold, point or bearing. Not really sure, like if you wanted to hold point number 12 or 11, or if you wanted to hold one of them. And let's just say none for now. And now here's our best fit line. So what are your choices here? Is the residuals 0.921, an average residual here, maximum of 1.577. And you can see there's the one, 6A is the one that's the most, it's the furthest out. Okay. So so you can look at these and decide, well, hey, these others are, you know, like here's a pretty good one, you know, but maybe this is the worst one. You could say process off, in which case it recomputes now. And so now these residuals are getting better. Okay, or you can say process on. So if we and then you could also remove that from consideration. But let's just say we take it like like it is, and we say, okay, and there's our results. And so now in this case, none of these points lie on that line,
Okay.
but that line is the best fit line so that the distances off of this line are minimized when considered as a whole. Okay.
Okay. Well, all
So,
of those rebars are bent,
yeah.
although 6A isn't bent as much as, I mean, that's just, it amazes me that they did this job in 1972 and couldn't get any closer than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows what's happened? Could they have had any kind of heavy equipment out there or anything like
Well,
that?
maybe. It's hard to tell. They're all bent and they're buried a lot deeper than I would have expected them to be. They're all
Could
about
have been,
the ground.
you could have had a homeowner like my dad who decided that that darn square concrete monument that was out on the edge of his property, right where he wanted to put a tree line, was in his way. So he busted it out with the sledgehammer, and it, it said Virginia Department of Highways on the top of it,
Yeah.
so, yeah. Anyway, so, all right. So that was just taking it like it was. Go ahead and do that again. Go back to Kogo to best fit. And you want to do a best fit line. And you can do it. You can do like center, try your different options. Try your best fit center line, for instance. Okay. And you want to input an existing data from points or a polyline. We'll say points. So hit enter for that. We're going to select by the screen, hit enter for that. Select your points, just click them all. What's going on?
Says entity set 2.
Oh, let's see. Let's try this again. Let me see something in a minute. Let's try that one more time. If we best fit center line by points, okay, actually, I think what we have to do is select the point from the screen okay, so select point of screen, point or select points. All right, so if I were to select all of these, why did it say 5? Oh, I see what it's trying to do. If I do a best fit center line by points from screen. Now, if I go to say from 12 to 1A, so I picked one, or I picked 12 and I'll pick 1A and I'll hit enter to finish. What happened? Well, best fit center line. Input data from points or points. Select point from screen. Select points. Why didn't it? Huh. I'm not sure about that one. Hold on a quick second. Yell if you see it. Best fit center line right here. All right, so that process is a group of points to compute the best fitting center line by these squares. It can be input from Carlson points or from vertices of a polygon. For points, the points can be selected by screen. Each line segment in the center line is calculated by the best fit line method, and each arc is calculated by the best fit arc. Snap times the maximum offset to be counted. The polygon there, okay, blah, blah, blah. Create tangents on it, remove outliers. Yeah, well, let me see. How many points do we actually have here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Got 14. I've got, see, there's 5 points there. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's something duplicated here. All right, if I look at that, I should have 3. 2 blocks and a point. I should have 3. Oops, I've got 3 blocks and 2 points. So that one apparently is duplicated. So if I delete, undo that.
Well, there's a point there that I shot twice. And that may be what you're seeing.
All right.
But that's true. There's a 1 and a 1A, but that's true for 6 too.
Oh, I see. So there is.
When you're doing GNSS work, what their protocol recommends is that you shoot the same point twice during different times of the day.
Yep.
And that's what you're seeing there. But I just picked which one to use. So, okay. So there really should be 8 points there.
All right, so there's your, I've got I've got 2 points there, and I've got, let's see, I've got a point there, and I've got a point there. Okay. Apparently that's just the symbol, whereas this one, why is it not? It's not reacting to my double clicking. That did. That did not.
That happens to me all the time.
Oh, I know why. Because when I remember back when I decoupled the line work.
Yeah.
I also had selected all these things, so they are, so let me just redraw those. All right, so 1 through 8, 12, 1 through 12. So if I get rid of those. We'll call this field points. All right, so this is cluster average. That's one average. All right, so any of these that you don't want to see?
The only ones I want to see are 1A and 6A and 11 and 12.
Okay. So let's draw. Let's see. Ah. One. 1A.
Yeah.
Okay. And what next?
6A.
6 also, or just
No, just 6A
6A? Okay.
and 11 and 12.
Now I also took out 7 and 8 or whatever was up here.
Yeah, right. That's probably 4 through 8.
Well, 4 through 8 is going to pick up 6A. So let's go 4 through 5 and 7 through 8.
Okay, let me just turn off. Let me get rid of 5 and 1 down there.
All right, let me double check that. Okay. Oh, I got it. Okay, so you want to, let's erase, just select that number 5.
Not selecting.
Yeah, just if you click, just like, oh, it's still asking me down there on my status bar. It's still asking me point numbers to draw. Just hit enter to finish. Now do it. There you go. And then there's 1. Okay. So now we've got those 4 points down there that
Okay,
you're trying.
let me interrupt you here for a second and ask you a question.
Okay.
I went up and I did, let me see if I can find it here. It's survey. Yeah, key correlation. Okay. So it's this one I can open and look at.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah. Okay.
in your list of recent files.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I did that with the 400 points that I have
Yep.
down there, and I did find minimum alignment.
Okay.
It came up with, and that's what it came up with.
All right.
Held point 11.
And rotate it 1A. Yeah.
And that looked like a pretty decent solution to me.
Okay.
Although I'm not crazy about the residual distance, but
Right.
if you look at these,
They're not half bad.
6A is the one that we know is not in line with the others based on what we just did.
Yeah.
So if I close that report, so if I hit apply alignment, does that move all of this stuff over to there?
Yeah, because you're gonna, right now, it's gonna go survey to deed. You see the alignment direction is checked, survey to deed.
Oh, I don't want to go that way.
So you want to go deed to survey.
Yeah.
So now if you apply alignment, oh, sorry. I can't find point 11. I don't know why that is.
Huh. That's
Try
weird.
that. Try running it again. I think when we switch directions, we might have missed it.
It's under survey, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Deed trees, deed correlation.
So there's 11 to 430. Okay. So find your minimum. Whoops, I'm sorry. Exit that. Switch your deed to survey. And now find your minimum. Now, let's see what it's saying here. Okay, there's 11. All right. So now we say exit that. And then if you apply that alignment, okay. So what it's going to do is you see up there at the tip, the very first field, it says what range of points. It's going to bring 400, 408, 430 to 431.
Okay, I want to bring all of this.
Okay, then to do that, you would go up there and in that range of points, you would say 400-450 or whatever it is.
Here?
Yeah. And then you see what it's doing is it says first source point, first destination, second source, second destination. That's your hold and rotate. And so it's going to apply that to all those points. And those points you'll see they'll get moved and they'll go. Now, if you want to align your screen entities, then you would check that. And when it asks you for it, you're going to pick the line work that you want to also move if you want to move line work.
Okay, I do.
Okay.
So hit okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, then it says select entity, so I can just do a window around
Yep.
it.
That's what I wanted to make sure you saw. It does say select entities, but read the line above it.
Select objects to align points excluded.
And the reason it says that is because the points 400 to 450, they're going to get moved already. If you select them here, it's going to first move them, and then it's going to apply that same movement to those points again. So you'll see a double shift. Okay. So that's what you don't want to do. That's why it says points excluded. So the points are already going. So now you need to go in there and just pick all of the lines that you want to move. So there's one of them. There's another. If you want the road edges or any and all of that stuff that you want to go and bring with it. Nope, you got a point there. Scroll into it. All right, type R to remove. Now, click that 425. Did you click it?
Not hit R again.
Let me see. R. There we go. Now type A to start adding. And now go back to picking lines. Okay. Okay. Now right there, there's two lines there. And you see that little box says select either all or the white one or the red one. Okay. There you go. Now zoom out and go down and make sure you've got everything else you need. Looks like you need those two back there. There you go. Again, you've got two, so choose them all. And looks like that's everything. Okay. And now you're finished selecting, so type enter to finish. And there you go.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, see, that's interesting. See where the center line of road is landing? It's
Yeah.
actually landing on what should be the edge of the right of way.
Huh.
So that indicates that
Those aren't prescriptive deeds, are they?
no, that so that indicates that the road was that the photograph is right and the road is built in the wrong place.
Could be. You know, stranger things have happened.
Well, what I want to do tomorrow is put this in the data collector and go out there and look for these corners
Yeah.
uh, and see if I can find any.
Okay.
Because this is going to be a mess. I mean, these people are all going to be upset.
Well, that sounds like it. In fact, if I go back and look at, see, I'm looking at that tax map again, and it looks to me like there's a couple of things. First of all, the are you also looking at the tax map?
Yeah.
And you see that parcel 32 where you can see the lines down to the southeast, I guess that would be if north is up. You know, it straddles that main road fairly nicely.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the back of, say, parcel 26, 27, 28, that back line looks like it needs to shift even further back. Potentially. I mean, I don't know that that would necessarily be, you know, so where that up where that label for lot 29 is, it looks like if you picked up those back lines of those 26, 27, 28 and shifted them back to line up where that white vehicle is
Yep.
in front of that shed, that might line up. It looks like, you know, there's an occupation there of some kind, maybe, maybe not.
No, there is.
But that actually puts this little road here even further out of whack.
Yeah.
If you pick those whole things up. So, I mean, there may be some real mess in there.
Well, there are some real messes in here for sure. It's worse than I thought it would be. I thought when I first looked at this tax map and these people brought it to my attention, that, oh, that's just a tax map. I told them GIS stands for get it surveyed.
Right, right.
And they laughed and they said, well, that's why we're hiring you.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to be a
Well,
little bit strange now to go back and tell them,
yeah, you might have been right.
yeah, well, I'm not sure I'm there yet, but it's
Yeah.
not looking good.
Well, yeah, I know. It's very interesting. I did a bridge realignment job for the highway department up north of one of the northern counties up toward the northwest part of the state up here up in the country, you know.
Yeah.
And the road, you know, it chugged up along the west side of the river, and then it gets to this little town and it turns and goes across the river, turns 90 degrees and goes right across the river. And then it turns left 90 degrees and goes up the other side of the river. Okay, just sort of like almost like a Z or like an S shape, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, what they were doing was widening the bridge, so they needed to figure out all the rights of way across there. And you get on the other side, you know, everything lines up nice on the west side of the river. You get on the east side of the river, and things line up very nicely relative to each other. But when you go to the back, and these are like 300, 400, and 500 feet back off the river, we're finding the back pens, but everything's rotated like 15 degrees out of relationship to the alignment across the bridge and to the things on the west side of the river.
right,
And the deeds are actually calling for a line along the edge of the bridge. So that's a very evident monument in the field, and that bridge had been there for hundreds of years. And so but you get over there, and somebody somewhere, when they started staking out those properties, got rotated and started putting things in the field, and they did it based on whatever setup that then propagated that same error through all those other adjoining lots back there. And I mean,
well, that's the one thing that worries me here. All I have are the points along this line. I've only got
yeah,
like 4
yeah,
points. And if all 4 of those were somehow wrong, well, of
yeah,
course, I've got the road too.
right, right.
Um,
But,
I'd like to find some more stuff out here to either confirm or deny. Of
true.
course, if this is where the corners are supposed to be, I'm not going to find them because they're going to be in the center of the road.
Yeah,
They're not going to be there. Now, it could be that I'll find corners over here.
uh, yeah,
Uh, that'll just make it more complicated. Then what do I do? Well, I'll figure that out.
yeah.
One more question for you, and I'll let you
Sure.
go.
Okay.
I've been very fortunate. I've been able to use GPS on every job I've done for the last month. And in this job, I'm not sure. I may have to break out the robot, and I could not, for the life of me, remember how to start a new job in third CE.
Okay. But so now the GPS though, you're using the Javid software, right?
Well, yeah, but I copied the points too on a
Yeah.
thumb drive and then copied them to the data collector.
Okay. So using the total or the robot, you're using ServCE on that one, right?
Yes.
Okay. So to remember on ServCE that the job itself is the coordinate file.
Right.
So you're going to take your CRD and you're going to get it onto the data collector, and then you're just going to open that coordinate file, and you can then go to the map screen and all that. Let me share my screen now and show you, or do you have that little little simulator?
I do. Let me
All right.
close that. Let me find it here. ServCE demo.
There it is. Okay, hit select new or existing. There you go. And now navigate up. Okay, and then find one of yours that you've got, or any of those. It doesn't matter. Okay.
Okay, so you just pick it and then you say.
Correct. Hit your green check. Yep. And then you answer, whatever that's supposed to be, and they could be set the way you want them. So if they are, hit the green check. And there's where you can put in a couple of things if you want.
Okay, so you just have to get the CRD, copy the CRD file into the data file.
Yeah, into the data collector.
And you copy it into the data file, right?
Well, into the data collector, yeah, you put it on the thumb drive and then move it off the thumb drive into the data collector. And the data collector itself has a C drive. It's not your computer C drive, it's its own C drive. Okay.
Right.
And so wherever you wind up putting it is wherever it is, and that's where you open it from. And then when you're done with whatever you do out in the field, then that CRD file can be brought back into the computer.
Okay. Or you can just export the points.
Well, you don't even really need to do that. What you can do is just simply bring that CRD file back to the computer and then open that file separately inside Carlson, or merge the points from that file into your current file, if, as long as they have a different name, a different file name. So any of that stuff's fine. You can also choose to export your points, you know, to text and ASCII file and bring it that way, but that's unnecessary. That's just going through translation that you don't really need to do. So if you do something like, let's say if you open this one up and you've got, let's say if I open up junk, do I have any points? Yeah, I got 3 points. All right. So let's say I've got this thing, I brought it over and I said, well, I want to make sure that my file called junk.crd on my computer stays intact. I don't want to mess it up, but I'm going to add some points or delete some points or do whatever I need to do out here in the field. So what I'm going to do here now is I would, so I'm going to go back to here, this job, and I'm going to say, junk, you know, field work, you know, something, right? And so now I go through this bit and set all that stuff up like we had before. Okay, I still got my, oh, no, I didn't. Okay, all right, so now, shoot, let me go back and get my junk. All right, so that's got my 3 points. All right. If I export, nah. I was trying to do like a save as. Well, if I go to my data collector and I make a new job, just like we did here with this junk field work,
Yeah.
I could then go to my import, export, and import, make sure my file type I set to CRD. I select the file and I get the one that I had on the computer.
Yeah.
And then that will bring it in, make sure I got all and all that kind of stuff. And so now these are my points, just like my file on my computer had, but it's now called junk field work.
Okay.
So I get done with all of that. And I go back to my Carlson stuff. And I go to points. Let's just do a coordinate file utilities. And over here on the left-hand side with my files, I would choose copy, merge, coordinate files. I'm going to import points into my current file. Now remember, my current file now is 2011 Koenig. And I would choose that file, wherever it is, that junk field work, select those 3 files, and let's, well, let's just find it.
What are you looking for?
Oh, just a junk file. Here's one. See if it's got any. Yeah, all right. And so now I would choose the files I want to bring in from the old one. And I want to either, I would set up add to point names, say 1000. Oops. And just let it bring in. And now You see, I should have those 4 points. Okay. So that's how you can, share those back and forth without worrying about overwriting your point files. Okay. Let's get rid of those. All righty. Mike, I'm going to need to call about a 5 minute if you got a few more questions or.
Nope, that's it.
All righty. Well, I will wish you luck on this. Call me back or whatever you need if we need to do some more. All right.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.